Thank you. And as Lance mentioned, I think a great segue into what I'm going to be talking about. And it's great to have you speak, Michelle, because I think about my university days when I studied seed bank viability, and I've probably lost count on how many papers and books and things of yours I've read. So it's wonderful to see you speak. So I work with an organisation called the Murray-Darling Wetlands Working Group, and I'm an environmental water manager with the group. And I've been with the group for just coming on 11 years. I would like to first acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we work and live on, and pay my respects and give thanks to elders past and present. Certainly feel very privileged to undertake all the work that we do on country with First Nations people and for all the knowledge and experiences that they share with us. Just to give a little bit of background to the organisation that I work for those that haven't heard of us. So we are a non-government, not-for-profit group. We have been around for about 30 years. Predominantly, we did operate in New South Wales, but more recently into Victoria. We're registered as a charity. We do have a board of directors, and they're from many various areas of expertise. We have environmental lawyers, First Nations people, horticulturists, scientists, natural resource managers, farmers. Quite diverse. And as far as staff numbers go, we currently have about 4 staff in the team. Our why, in terms of what we do as an organisation, is to rehabilitate degraded wetlands and improve their management throughout the Murray-Darling Basin. And we do this by linking community involvement with the best scientific understanding that is available to us at the time. Just wanted to, share a bit of a story about the work that we do over the 30 years that we have been in existence. And a real important emphasis that we see is to be working with community and all the different groups that make up our community. Reasons for why organisations do work with our organisation and individuals is that we're able to provide access to water for wetlands and for creeks, and help them to achieve their vision that they have. We focus primarily on private land, so picking up that point about where most of our wetlands are situated. And we also contribute to government programs to help achieve wider outcomes that might be part of their vision. And going back to that point about private wetlands, we really are looking to advocate for our forgotten wetlands, which I think Doug Robson alluded to in his talk earlier today. Just a snapshot of some of the many organisations that we have more recently been working with. There's essentially a diverse range in terms of government and non-government, community groups, research institutions, First Nations groups, and I think that's, just giving a picture of how we fit in. And there's certainly lots of catchment management authorities, local land services, and also the very many landholders that we've worked with over the years. Part of the main work that we have done in the past, and certainly now one of the main programs we deliver from, is one that is attached to an environmental water trust. So this trust was established with ourselves and the Nature Conservancy about 5 or 6 years ago now. And what that entails is managing water from this trust and co-delivering that with organisations such as the Commonwealth Environmental Water Office, state organisations, landholders, and also other non-government organisations. Essentially, what sits behind this Environmental Water Trust is a Murray-Darling Basin Balanced Water Fund, and this fund accepts water and money. This fund is a private equity fund, and it's based on social impact investment. So we have individuals and organisations that invest into this fund. The aim of that program is to improve the long-term environmental health of our rivers and wetlands, and our role as an organisation is to manage the water on behalf of the Environmental Water Trust. Also sitting behind this trust is an independent scientific and culture advisory committee, of which there are 3 members, and they represent areas of science and culture. Again, talking to our main program that we deliver, this is providing a snapshot of the sites that we had earmarked for this current and very close to ending water year, 22-23. So you can see there's approximately 30 sites, and they sit largely within New South Wales, but there's certainly a few in Victoria as well. And of course, with the seasons that we've had, the high rainfall and the flooding, this didn't quite pan out, but that's certainly what we're proposing to do. So a number of these wetlands obviously did need environmental water delivery. So yes, it's been quite an interesting year, as other water managers have found. But this, I guess, just gives an indication of the extent of the work that we do across northern Victoria and southern New South Wales. What I would like to do now is just talk through some of the examples that we have for how we do working with the many different organisations who have an interest in wetlands. One particular example for 2 landholders, Don and Joe Hearn. They're located on a farm near Barham. They actually operate a winery and have beef, certified organic farmers. Very passionate about the wetland that they have on their property. We've been working with them for a long time. I think it probably spans over the course of a decade. But the types of activities we've been doing with them is environmental water delivery to their wetland. We've also been involved in projects where the installation of interpretive signage, outdoor classrooms, and things like that have been put in place. And they've really found that it's a project that's given them a lot of joy, and they've actually seen that it's really helped to grow their business by having this asset that's being managed on their property. So I think it just goes to show how well things can work in an agricultural and business setting from a wetlands perspective. Some of the other examples, so as I said, we mainly focus on private land, and over the course of the 30 years that we've been in existence, there are hundreds and hundreds of different wetlands that we've been involved in delivering water to. And we see a very important part of what we do as an organisation is forming strong relationships and building trust within that relationship and having that relationship for the long term. And certainly our landholders that we've been working with, they're not ones that we cold call, they're ones that generally come to us, whether it's through the CMA, they've approached the Catchment Management Authority, and they're not in a position to be able to assist, but it's something that they feel fits into our program. We then form that connection. There's also word of mouth through the landholders networks. So that's how generally sites come our way. We have found that we're working with people who want to work with us. They're already engaged, they're already conservation minded, so they just see that they've got a valuable wetland on their property, they recognise that, and they see that the hydrology is a gap that they need assistance for, as well as advice around management and the long-term goals for the wetland, but often we see that one of the missing pieces that we can really help with is the water component. As I said, it's just a really important part of what we do, and over the years we have these relationships that just keep building on over time, and you do see the new generations come through, which is really lovely as well. Some of the other work that we've been involved in is not just environmental water delivery, but also programs that do bring in some of the other on-ground activities such as fencing. And that's certainly sometimes missing piece of the puzzle as well in terms of wetlands in the private land landscape. So again, working very closely with landholders to achieve those goals of fencing wetlands off, managing them differently from stock or excluding them altogether. And if the hydrology component is a missing link, then that's when something that we can assist with as well. Some of the other partnerships that we form as an organisation is working with our First Nations people. An example here is involves our work with BMEET, which is the Barkindji Morawa Elders Environment Team. And sometimes it's not always about environmental water delivery, it's about how we could potentially provide technical skills to people who have an interest in managing wetlands, for example. So we spend a lot of time with different groups and bringing in other organisations and individuals, so you have that wider impact, and forming those relationships, building up that interest and that momentum and that skill base for being able to manage our land and water assets. Again, some of the other work that we have undertaken with First Nations people, a lot of these projects are ones that involve many different partners, and I think that's something that we've really seen as being a big success for what we have done, is that we're able to work alongside lots of different organisations who are all there to achieve the same goal, and I think that means you're bringing in different resources and more resources that enables you to do more. And I think that's been a real key successful point, is just having those partnerships and extending it out to include other players as well. As I've shown in the previous slides, it's just really diverse, the different groups that we do work with, Rotary groups, Men's Shed, and different councils, First Nations people again, research institutions. We're all focused on the same outcome. Community events, which I think are really great to be able to engage with a wider audience and bring them in on the journey for a restoration project. And of course also our younger generation, particularly school-aged children. There's so many opportunities that we've been able to be part of, and again, it's a real team effort in terms of all the different organisations that can work together to achieve the same goal for wetland management. Just another example of the types of activities that we do, and I will point out every time I look at this photo, I kind of forget that, yes, I am in the photo. I'm behind the primary school age children. That's okay. Small packages. So from the work that we have done over the many years that we've been in existence, I guess what we have found is that the co-management approach does help to overcome barriers and promote resilience. It enables you to be able to share the elements of land and water, equipment and funds, knowledge and experience and skills. We see that as a really successful formula, and it's through that biodiversity wins. Biodiversity is promoted and maintained. It also fosters that greater connection between people and wetlands, and the greater outcome at the end of the day is that means if you do put that investment into strengthening relationships, you do help to go along the way for having resilient communities and resilient wetlands. And I hope I've made up some time in your program, Lance. So that's the end of my presentation. It really was a picture-sized show, but I just hope that gives a bit of a taste of the different ways you can engage with community and what that can bring.